powers are legendary. Their origins are unknown. Their methods are extreme.
And the game is on.
LXG, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Welcome to the recap show. This is going to be me this week. Josh got busy doing some Thanksgiving prep, and I want to get this done early this week because I'm going to have a really rough end of the week. So, here we go. Alright, the first recap for this week will be Damas Llamas versus High Maneuver. In this game, we had a battle of quarterbacks as Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins went off for 25 apiece. But after the quarterback battle, the wide receiver running back battles were not as even, as Adama's wide receivers outscored Ben's 23-14, and Adama's running backs outscored Ben's 31-4, with having Doug Baldwin go for 10 at the wide receiver spot to lead him off, and LaShawn McCoy going for 24 points. One place where Ben did get the win is in the special teams, where his tight end, kicker, and defense scored 18 points to Adama's 10 points. That was not enough to get the win, as Adama pulled out the victory, 89-61, giving him a 28-point win. In the matchup, Adama's Kareem Hunt only scored 17 points, which was not over 16 like I called, so that was a bad call on my part. A bad game all around by Kansas City, who went into the New York Giants territory and lost the game. And pretty much had a rough day. Only person who scored for the Kansas City Chiefs was Harrison Butker, who luckily was on my team, so I got a couple points for it. On a concerning note, Adama's Zach Ertz had 0 points in the game, which may be a bad sign of things to come. After the win, Adama stays in 5th place at 7-4, 60 points behind Nuzzy Futz in 4th place. His next game will be versus Chicago Bears, coming up soon. While Ben falls to 3-8, stays in 13th place, and we'll get ready for a matchup versus Excuses Start Soon. Our next matchup is the high score of the week, as the Barbarians took down Chi-Town B-Town. Projected score of 86-87, it was supposed to be a really good one, a really close one. But it got started early on Thursday night with Antonio Brown's 32 points, as Craig got the win 132-94 points to give him a 38-point win. And as I said, the party got started really early on Thursday night, where Antonio Brown went for 32 points with 3 touchdowns. The Barbarians kept it rolling though over the weekend with 18 points from Rivers versus Buffalo, 13 from Landry at Tampa Bay, and another big one of the Beamans went off for 19 points with Alvin Kamara. And he had a big day from his freshly acquired defense, the Los Angeles Chargers, who went off for 25 points thanks to 5 picks and 2 touchdowns. And my call was that they would be a top 7 play this week, and they were. They ended up being tied for second behind the Baltimore Ravens defense at 25 points. On the other side of the ball, Josh did make some nice calls, picking up Case Keenum late and getting 17 points out of that. He also had the other Saints running back, Mark Ingram, who went off for 21 and kept it rolling. He also got 10 from all 3 of his wide receivers, Thomas, Woods, and Cooper, but only got 4 from DeMarco Murray, which is also troubling going into the playoffs if he can make it. And he also lost Robert Woods for the next couple weeks, which for us may be the rest of our season. After the win, Craig goes to 8-3 and moves up back into 1st place. His next game will be versus the Kneecaps, which will give Kneecaps a good chance to play spoiler and knock him out of 1st place, possibly. While Josh goes to 5-5-1 and slides into 7th place, and he is 1.5 games back of the 7-4 crew at the moment, so he's going to need to win some games and get some help to possibly slide into the playoffs. And his next game will be versus Carlos, which is going to be a nice game where pretty much losers are going to be done for the year. So guys, get ready. It's going to be a good game. Alright, our next recap is Kneecaps versus Excuses Start Soon. Projected score of 78-63. Favor Neil. He did get the win 90-76 over Matt, thanks to big games from Matt Ryan versus Seattle with 16 points, Marvin Jones, our Willie Beeman, coming through again with 14 points. And his newly picked up Samaje Perine got 126 yards and 1 touchdown for 17 points. But the game changer, the clincher, was a defense again this week. We had some huge defensive games as the Philly defense at Dallas had 4 sacks, 3 picks, a fumble, and a defensive touchdown for a total of 22 points to push Neil way over the top and get the win. While Matt, again, he had a rough start of the week. I don't think he didn't think he had much of a chance, but he did pull out a good score, 76 points. He got 22 from Drew Brees, who finally stepped up and had himself a big game. He had 13 from Hopkins, who is still, even without Deshaun Watson, the #1 wide receiver in fantasy football this year. He got 9 from Alfred Morris, who may finally get on track and get something going here while Ezekiel Elliott is out. And he got 18 from his defense, who he just picked up as well. But he got 2 zeros from his kicker, Crosby, and Andre Ellington at running back, which sank his ship and secured Neil the victory. With the win, Neil goes to 4-7 and goes into 10th place. Their next game will be versus the Barbarians. As I said earlier, where he will have a chance to play spoiler. For Excuse to Start Soon, they fall to 4-7 in 12th place. And again, we'll be playing Higher Maneuver next week, which will just be for bragging rights. Alright, I'm going to try to hold it together here, guys. Might be tough. It's going to be a little painful. But the next recap is OG Billy Witch Doctor versus Chicago Bears. For a projected score of 86-74, favoring OG Billy Witch Doctor. Did not turn out that way, of course, as Chicago Bears pull out the victory, 75-90, giving Kristen a 15-point win. How did this happen? Well, the hottest offense in football over the last couple weeks, the Rams, pretty much fell apart, visiting the Minnesota Vikings, and Jared Goff's party train hit the skids with only 9 points. And then, when your defense outscores all your wide receivers and your tight end combined, then you know you probably aren't going to get the W that week. But when your defense and kicker outscore your wide receivers, running backs, and your tight end, then you know you're in big trouble and you're not going to get the win that week. And that is exactly what I did, as the Jacksonville defense went off for 25 points, and my kicker went off for 9 points for a total of 34, while all my running backs, wide receiver, and tight end combined for only 32. So they got outscored 34-32 by the special teams. I don't have to count tight end. He got 0 points. Austin Pooper pooped out a 0 right over my squad, and that's okay, because Kristen had a good week. Again, she was projected for 74. She ended with 90, so she had herself a really nice week. Thielen just kept it rolling. He had 18 points on the week. Lamar Miller got 14 versus Arizona, and Will Lutz kept his leg busy, going for 17 versus Washington. And all of this set up the stage for Russell Wilson to go off on Monday Night Football and get Kristen the win with a big game of 31 points. With the loss, yours truly falls to 8-3 and skids down to 2nd place, and we'll have a game this weekend against Tree and Yay Boys in Spandex. While Kristen with the win will improve to 4-7, slide into 11th place, and we'll have a game versus Adamas Lamas, who sits at 5th place, and a chance again this week to play spoiler and mess up the playoff picture. Our next matchup is a Dirty Slovaks versus Joski. The game was projected to be a 94-82 win for Dirty Slovaks, and ended up being a 98-81 win, so just about on point. But the Dirty Slovaks got the win, thanks to a nice combination games of Wentz to Jeffrey for a combined 33 points, and his Adams and Amendola wide receiver combo got 12 points each, but he only got 12 points for his running backs, Bell and Burkhead, and only 3 from Gronkowski. But luckily, the other Kowski boy of New England, Gaskowski, got him 20 points at his kicker spot, and that was enough to push him over the top and get him the win. On the other side, for Joski, again, check the docket, Lions won the game, but 27-24 at Chicago, it's not actually a great day. Just an okay day, and that's how his team played this week. They had an okay day. He got 49 points combined from his 5 Lions players, But when you consider that's also including his quarterback, again, it's just okay. He got 11 from AJ Green, which was nice for a late touchdown at Denver. And Jimmy Graham, his tight end, also got a touchdown and got 13 points. But with Watkins and McKinnon only scoring 8 points combined, the Lions didn't put up enough points to make up for it and get the win. With the win, Adam goes to 7-3-1 and stays in 3rd place for a game coming up versus Nuzzy Futz, who sits at 4th place. And then Joe falls to 5-6 in 8th place, and we'll have a big game this week against 6th place Bagadickas, where again the loser will probably be done for this season in terms of playoff hopes. Alright, the next recap is going to be Bagadickas versus Carlos. Projected score of 76-80, favoring Carlos. It did not end up anywhere near that, as it ended up being 78-49 for the Bagadickas, giving Steven the 29-point win. Now, Steven reached into his bag of Ditkas and pulled out 3 solid 14-point games from Derek Carr, Melvin Gordon, Orleans Darkwa to get the win. He also got 2 9-point chip-ins from Sanu and Kelsey to seal the deal. On the other side, Carlos had a pretty rough day, as you can tell, with only scoring 49 points. He had 2 zeros from his tight end Witten versus Philly and the LA Rams defense at Minnesota. He lost one of his wide receivers, Kelvin Benjamin, after he made his first catch of the game. Granted, it was for 20 yards and 2 points, but still, it's not going to get it done. And the most damaging was his quarterback, Dak Prescott, who was projected for 21 points, fell way short of that with only 1 point, and the Cowboys are looking really lost on offense without Ezekiel Elliott and especially Tyron Smith, their left tackle, out. On the Sunday side, he did get a double-digit game from both his running backs, Fournette and Deion Lewis, and his kicker Tucker. My call for this game was that Derek Carr would outscore Dak Prescott, and he did it handily, 14 points to 1. With the win, Bagadickas goes to 7-4 and slides into 6th place, where he is 79 points behind 5th and 139 points behind our current 4th place team, who also sits at 7-4. His next game will be versus Joski, which could be a season ender for one of them, depending on how things go. As for Carlos, he falls to 5-6, sits in the 8th place, and he has a game also this week against Chi-Town Beatdown, which will also be in my idea of looking at the numbers, this will be a to-the-death fight as well, where the loser of that game will also be done for the playoff season. Alright, and my last recap is Yay Boys in Spandex versus Nuzzy Futz. Projected score of 93-69. This was not supposed to be close, and the final score really wasn't that close, as Nuzzy Futz got the win 98-69 for the 29-point win. Nuzzy Futz had a rough start as he watched Alex Smith struggle, and while he only ended up with 9 points, 2 of his wide receivers, Stephen Diggs and Keenan Allen, pretty much put this one to bed early with over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns combined for 47 points. Both of his running backs broke double digits to lock down the win with Gurley and Howard. She didn't have much go her way, but did get 18 from Mariota, another 12 from Alex Collins as he got his first touchdown of the year, and a solid game from our first pick of the draft and our current 7th overall wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, with 15 points. My call in this game is that Tree's running backs would outscore Aaron's, and while Alex Collins held up his end of the deal, Isaiah Crowell didn't do much of anything, and Jordan Howard wasn't having it as he got his points and clearly kept Aaron's running backs ahead of Tree's. With the loss, Tree falls to 2-9 and stays in last place in 14th spot, and will face off against me this week with the chance to play spoiler. And Aaron goes to 7-4 in the 4th place, thanks to his 60-point lead over 5th place. And his next game will be versus Dirty Slovaks, who's currently 1 spot ahead of him in 3rd place. Alright, week 11 zeros. We actually had a pretty clean week. We only had 6 zeros this week. We had Austin Pooper for me. Kristen had the Buffalo defense, which wasn't necessarily 0. It was a -3 points. Adama had Zach Ertz. JJ had Jason Witten. and the Los Angeles Rams defense. And Matt had Andre Ellington and Mason Crosby. Now, who's the biggest zero? Man, you know, -3 is lower than 0. So it should be Buffalo defense. But Zach Ertz is like the number 2 tight end in the league. That's a really painful 0. But you still got to give it to -3 because it's a -3. And it's the second time the last couple weeks that Buffalo's had a negative score. So they shouldn't have been in there anyway.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
You know, I'm pretty sure I've had to watch this Denny Green video like 3 times this year just for myself. So it's Monday night has not been treating me well. But this week again it happened. Kristen was down 9 points going into the game. Granted, Russell Wilson was going, and I think, as I said on the Facebook, like, it's about to be real. I'm about to get this loss. But she still had to do it. He still had to put up the points, and he did. He easily got the win, and it took me down on Monday Night Football. God damn it! But yeah, so going into Monday Night Football, it was 68-59 with my lead of 9 points. At the end, the final score was 75-90. So as I said, Russell Wilson cleaned house and just locked the win down securely and easily.
Gotta get to work. That's right.
Yes.
Come on. You know my name. Come on. My name is Willie. Baby, I keep the ladies creaming and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me.
Alright, time for the Willie Beeman. Now, first off, I did have to give a little shout out to Mr. Marvin Jones Jr. Last week I said, oh, maybe I cursed him. He didn't do too good last week, but this week he turned it back around as he picked up 14 points. And that gets him back in line with most of the Beemans, except for, of course, J.J. Nelson. But the rest are doing pretty good. And today, we have 3 new candidates. Alex Collins, who plays for Tree right now, who had a 12-point week and got his first touchdown of the year. We have Orleans Darkwa, who's playing for Steve at the moment, who got 14 points. And Neil has Samaje P. Ryan, who got 17 points. And also just lost the only person blocking his path to the field when Chris Thompson went out. And this is a tough one, because none of them are really like crazy great players, or nothing's making me say, oh, this person has to get the Willie Beeman. So it's boiling down to a situation and what I think is going to happen over the last 3 weeks of regular season, 2 weeks of playoffs for us. Man, the Ravens defense is doing great, so it's going to keep Alex Collins on the field, and their schedule is really nice. Orleans Darkwa has just been doing it for like 5 weeks in a row now, so that makes him a viable candidate. But man, Samaje P. Ryan, it's just him. Alex Collins has Denny Woodhead, he just came back. Orleans Darkwa, I mean, he's on the Giants. The Redskins offense isn't like the greatest in the world, but it's not as terrible as the Giants offense. And I can see them having a good end of the year. And the only person they're going to have running the ball is going to be Samaje P. Ryan. So, this week's Willie Beeman, Week 11, Willie Beeman for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is Samaje P. Ryan.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay.
I really need to change the name of this award from the Share Turn Back the Time to the player that Joe or Jeremy left on their bench that would have won in the game. Because this week, again, it is Joeski. Joeski lost 81-98, losing by 18 points. If he would have started Kenny Stills, who scored 24 points, over Golden Tate or Sammy Watkins, who each scored 3 points, he would have got the win with the extra 21 points. But to be fair, if we're turning back time, Adam left Ben Roethlisberger's 28 points on the bench and only got 19 for Wentz. So if he would have made that switch, he would have got the win either way. And he also only got 6 points from his Kansas City defense, while Pittsburgh went off for 16 on his bench. So he left over 19 points on the bench. So while Joe might have got the win, for turning back time, this is going to be a joint award because Adam's going to need those points quite possibly if Josh can keep winning some games and get up to tie with him. All right, that's just about going to wrap us up today. Thanks for watching. We do have some huge games coming this week. Say hello. We have some really big games this week. As again, the number 3 seeded Dirty Slovaks will be playing against the 4 seeded Nuzzy Futz. That's going to be huge in the playoff bracket. Give people a chance to catch up and pass some people. We have an 8th versus 6th battle with Joski versus Bagadickas, where someone will be. This is a battle to the death right there. And another battle to the death in our 7th versus 9th seeded Chi-Town Beatdown versus Carlos squad, where the loser will be done for the year. Come here. Clap, clap, clap. Okay. And we got a spoiler alert. And Chuck, come here. And we got. Oh, I got you. I got you now. Oh. And we got a spoiler alert, where Yay Boys in Spandex, Chicago Bears, and Kneecaps will all get a chance to pull off the upset this week and ruin someone's playoff dreams. Tree, I'm looking at you. Don't do it. Isaiah Crowell, just stay where you are. Don't do anything stupid and get like a touchdown. Just stay sucky, because I need this win. All right, guys. Good luck. Happy Thanksgiving.